Good afternoon, guys. It is January 29th, 2023. Back out with the race team. It says 10.64 miles. I've just made a jump. I did a couple training tosses 6 miles from the south. And the local club, I'll have an update about that before I go here. But needless to say, they're going to be flying southeast out of Nevada. So I've kind of made a few adjustments. Talked to a club representative yesterday, spent the day with him and another member over at his loft. And got quite a bit of insights into what's going to happen this year. So we're going to be flying southeast. So he kind of gave me some insight into where he would train from. So I'm kind of following his lead, but I am doing a big jump here today. But I had been training from 6 miles due south for flyover. I got a car coming. So this is 10.64 miles. The loft is that way. You can kind of see the gap over there. So we're about 6 miles past the gap where I was doing a lot of those training tosses, and lost that one hen 56.27. Then I went just over 6 miles to the south. I lost 56.32, the pied bird. Neither of those have come back. They're gone. So they did not cut it. So I'm down to 4 birds on this team. I actually got lucky yesterday when I was with 2 of the guys from the club. One guy was having another guy do some evaluations for him. He was going to do some deep cuts into his birds. And there was kind of a cull fly keep list, or basically cull keep breed. And I wound up going home with not the breeding birds and not the cull birds, but the keep birds. And I'm going to try to resettle them. I've got about a dozen of those that he sent home with me. So I'm going to try resettling those. We'll see what kind of luck we have. Some of them are older breeders. I may try to squeeze some young birds off of them because they are very old, and obviously where they're old, they were good. So I'm going to try to squeeze a few youngsters off of them instead of flying those. But I've got about a dozen that I'm going to add to this team, and that'll hopefully give me, if I can keep them all, it'll give me 16 to 20 to start training. So this is 10.64 miles. You can see that traffic over there maybe in the video. That's I-5. And that was kind of what I was recommended to do, was basically to just start following I-5, and then once we hit about 30 miles out down I-5 to start braking to the southeast toward Nevada. The 400-mile race station will be, the 400 station will be Elko, and basically it is along that track. So that's southeast direction. I am going to be the furthest out loft, not by much, by about 1.5 miles. So we're going to see. But needless to say, down to 4. Going to continue their training. Going to release them here. Like I said, there's only 4 left. 56.32 is gone. It's not surprising. He tried to hang in there, but it just didn't quite cut it. And 56.27 is gone, which is quite unfortunate because I thought that was a decent one. But having gone back and gone through the toss records, there were quite a few times she was late. Early on, she was always there with him, but kind of as we started going a little further out, she was lagging further and further behind. And this time she did not make it back from the 5-mile station during that hawk attack that took place there. So I don't know if she got taken or if she just kind of went balmy and off she went. So we got a lot of hills, but we still have a gap. We're going into that gap right there, and this is the path we're hoping. So hopefully they're going to stay here in the river valley. We're at the base of a hill here. So you can see mixed forest, kind of as usual. And this is all mixed forest. Mostly pine, oak, madrone on this side. Other side had a lot of fires in years past. Pretty bare. So a lot of scrubby madrone and scrubby oaks. Not so much pine. Most of that stuff burned up in fires in the past, going all the way back into the 80s. Its area has been hit pretty hard. So here we go from here. So this is their first toss past 10 miles. let's go, guys. No power lines or anything. Nice open field. Power lines are over there on the other side of the road. This is a vineyard here. They're swinging hard toward the river. A lot of fields here. Oh, dipping real low there. Somebody had talked about that the other day. About maybe one or two birds keeping small flocks down low at low heights as they circle. So there they are. A little bit of height. Anyway, we've got about 2 hours to sunset. I hope that's not a hawk following them. No, it's not. So they're gradually swinging their way back and forth across that valley, across that gap. So you can kind of see that low-lying gap way out there. There they go. Now that's where they're going. They're heading toward that gap. They're zigzagging their way back and forth through this valley. So that's good. That's good. So hopefully they're going to be home. I actually have to make a stop on the way, so I mean, it's not going to be me racing them back or anything. You can see a little bit of topography. People like that. Pretty scrubby on that side of the river. But like I said, that had all burned, and then we've got all this out here. Pretty good drop site though. No power lines or anything. Very wide open. So as I mentioned yesterday, I met with some people from the club here. We're gonna have 11 flyers. I don't know if that's gonna count me or not. Like I said, I've only got these 4, and I've got these others that somebody gave me to try to resettle, so I don't know if I'm gonna have enough. Obviously they don't think it's very fair for me to be paying, you know, it costs money to race and all that, and it takes, you know, time and investment, and the guys, they don't think it's that fair for me to only fly, you know, a few pigeons against guys who are, you know, flying 40 or 50 each. They don't think it's that fair, so it's kind of up in the air whether I race against them this year. And they're also racing only old birds. They're not racing young birds locally. So there's that element also. These guys here that I'm training, they're about 7 months old now. You know, because I got a late start. So they're still pretty young. They've got a long way to go. But I mean, they could be in good condition come racing season. So I mean, we'll see. I know what clock to get now and all that. So I'm gonna certainly make the effort to race this year, even if I've only got a handful of pigeons. I'm gonna kind of try to compel them to allow me to do that. You know, like I said, it's costs money and it's my money, and I don't mind spending the money to, even if I've got a lot fewer pigeons than everybody else, and just kind of see how it goes. In the meantime, I'm working on OLR entries. They've got my perch fees in to Banks the Wabash Challenge. That's largely run by the Deisher family and other flyers there in Indiana. So I've got 4 going to go there. I'm in an Inner Apple Cup, but haven't arranged that yet. But have already talked to Rick Me about it a couple months ago about entering. So he's already aware of that. Just need to start that process of entering. So at minimum, I'm going to do those 2. I am looking at some other One Loft Races to enter this year. It's just a matter of getting the breeder started, which I'm working on right now. I've got a half-finished loft there that some hired help worked on last year that I'm in the process of finishing that. I actually finished the floor last night. And I'm not a carpenter, and I've always had this weird mental block about carpentry, that it seems like people who are carpenters are magicians, that they must seem super special, and I don't want to take away from the tradesmen, but I did figure out after kind of getting over the mental block and just doing it, it's not as hard as I thought it was. And that's not to take away from the tradesmen among us, you know, because obviously they're experts at it, but I did find that it wasn't quite as tough as I thought it was going to be, and it turned out pretty decent. I've got It's only a 4x8, so I've got to move that. I've got to jack that building up because the guy I had build it for some reason didn't put a floor in it, left it bare dirt. So I've got to jack that building up, put a floor under, slide the floor under it, screw it down, get it up on blocks, and then finish it. It's not too far from being done. It's going to be done this week. And I need to start getting my stock birds together. Some of them are paired up in individual pens, but I like the individual pen for the guarantee of who is what. But at the same time, I have noticed, having used individual breeding pens for years, the birds actually do better as far as breeding in an open loft. You just can't guarantee the parentage. And with the DeVrents, they're all pretty closely related, and being, you know, the first year with them, it's kind of difficult to figure out who to mate to who anyway. You know, most of them were squeakers when I got them. A lot of them are siblings or cousins or second cousins and half brothers and half sisters. So they're all kind of the same anyway. But apart from going by type, you know, you really don't have a guideline for mating. So it may almost not matter who gets mated to who. So I mean, it's breeding in the open loft with them the first year, it's not such a big deal. So they're going to go in the new open loft, and then I'm going to do another one and move the black widow birds into that, and then do the same thing for the Hubins. And anyway, that is it. I'm going to head home. We'll see how they do. I got a vehicle coming here, so see you guys soon. So we're back at the loft, and the rovers are up now. When I got here, the racers were not here, and I wound up putting the kid out because I think what they do is, I think on these shorter tosses, I think they go around and have little joy rides and do a lot of ranging for exercise. So about 5 minutes after I put the rovers out, the 4 racers turned up from the southwest, which is the opposite direction. So I think they were out ranging after they got here. But needless to say, they've all trapped, and everybody is home safe and sound. They as soon as I threw the rovers out, they broke away and came to the loft. So that is all good. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode, I guess, if you want to call it that. You guys all stay safe. Keep them flying.